Now, let's move to the last part of this class, East meets West, in which we are going to gain a deeper understanding of Chinese traditional architecture from the perspectives of culture analysis between the East and the West. What is the first difference we can think of in terms of the architectures between the East and the West? That is the use of different materials. As mentioned in part 1 of the class, wood plays a central role in traditional Chinese buildings. Chinese architects have created many miracles by using wood structure, while in Western countries, stone was largely used in architecture, especially in churches, to create a grand and mysterious impression. Why ancient Chinese preferred wood as the main structural material instead of stone? Chinese architecture relied on wood largely because of the versatility of the material. Wood is lighter than stone. It's also flexible. Wood structures can bend and move without breaking, which again allowed the Chinese to create massive structures that would not buckle or collapse. The use of wood over stone made Chinese architecture structurally different from the buildings of other Asian cultures. The weight of the structure was almost entirely placed on the internal columns, with no weight resting on the walls. Another reason might be the respect that Chinese people hold for nature and life. According to Chinese belief, wood symbolizes life and therefore is used to build houses for the living, while stone is the material without life and is usually used in China for mausoleums and graves. Number 2, the next major difference we can think of is enclosure. Contemporary Western architectural practices typically involve surrounding a building by an open yard on the property. This contrasts with much of traditional Chinese architecture, which involves constructing buildings or building complexes that take up an entire property but enclose open spaces within itself. Generally speaking, enclosure is the basic pattern for Chinese-style space. Throughout Chinese history, enclosure was the basic element used for residences, palaces, monasteries, and government offices. The light wall, which enclosed the house, not only gave the dwellers a sense of safety against the dangers of the outside world, but also a feeling of privacy in their internal space, a reflection of Chinese people's worldview. Number 3, horizontal emphasis. Chinese architecture stresses the visual impact of the width of the buildings. Classical Chinese buildings, especially those of the wealthy, are built with an emphasis on breadth and less on height, featuring a heavy platform and a large roof. This contrasts with Western architecture, which tends to grow in height and depth. The halls and the palaces in the Forbidden City, for example, have rather low ceilings when compared to equivalent stately buildings in the West. For example, the most important building in the Forbidden City, Hall of Supreme Harmony, is only 28 meters high. But the external appearances suggest the all-embracing nature of imperial China. Compared to the Cologne Cathedral in Germany, which is more than 150 meters high. Of course, there are exceptions in China, for example, pagodas, which tend to be tall enough. Okay, that's the end of the class. Thank you.